Happy Monday.
Happy Monday, everyone. Happy Monday.
Now reporting from San Diego. I love how you have your Padres uniform on here.
You know, I had to put it on. Last week was opening day, and even though they lost, you got to represent our local city, San Diego Padres. So that's why I'm wearing this. All around the country, teams had their opening day. So, people that like baseball, go Padres.
Yeah. Well, you know what? I have to admit, unfortunately, I've never been to a Padres game, let alone I've never been to a baseball game. I know nothing about baseball, so I'd love to learn. I know San Diego has such great pride in the Padres, so I know I've got to get into it.
Yes, you do. And if there's anybody else out there, Dodger fans, hey, we love you all.
Absolutely. Well, what's happening in the market right now? I know that we've had a lot of heat from what's happening in the Middle East and everything. How is that affecting our market today?
Yeah, well, let's look at some real numbers for this past week, right? One of the trending numbers we want to look at is what is the 30-year national average for mortgage rates. And let me pick that up because there's so much information on here. Give me a second. Give me a long second. All right. So the 30-year national average. Now, this is national average from March 23rd till March 27th. We were as low as 6.35, and it went up to 6.52. So we really have seen an upswing on the mortgage rates for 30-year mortgages. A lot of that you just mentioned has to do with the geopolitics going on right now and everything going on in Iran. All of that is affecting our rates. But one of the things that drives our rates are the 10-year Treasury notes. So when you look at that, we've seen that actually spike up to anywhere between, I think at the lowest, on Monday it was 4.28, and it went up all the way to 4.48, which is a 20 basis point increase. When you take that and you roll it up, you're going to see higher mortgage rates. And it's not going to cool off until we see things settle down. And they don't seem to be settling down because there's news every week about what's going on. In fact, oil prices were as low as $88 on the 23rd, and they went up all the way to $98 by the 27th.
Holy moly.
Yeah, so you see these swings, and they're not good right now because they're going the opposite, right? They're getting more expensive. It's costing more. And a lot of that has to do because what we're hearing in politics and it's a fear, right, that's happening. Realistically, we're seeing oil being held up and not coming. And we know that it's going to cost more per barrel. We see the 10-year Treasury yield increasing, and we see 30-year mortgage rates increasing. With that, too, we see the price of gold going up. And that's because people are finding, where can I put my money where it's safe, right? And gold seems to be a safe place to put it in. So you really, truly need a strategy if you're looking to buy an investment property or a primary residence. You need to have a strategy in place because you can't do anything about what mortgage rates are. They are what they are, and we don't know what's going to happen, for example, this week. Right? We're kind of rolling with the punches right now with the news, and everything is just really volatile. So that's where we come in, and we get together with our clients and we talk about what's going on and what is the best strategy for them to enter this market.
Yeah. So what you're saying is interest rates have spiked up to 6.52%.
Yes.
According to last week's numbers, and we're seeing that even reflected into gas prices. Oh. And what are gas prices right now in San Diego County?
That's crazy. Area? I've seen like $7 in some places, $6.50 in other places. I mean, they're about $1 more than they were, I think, about a month and a half ago. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And with gold being at now...
let me bring that up really quick.
Rising. I mean, I think with the spike of inflation that we're all feeling right now, it is very scary. I can definitely understand how a first-time home buyer might want to pause and wait to buy a home. I mean, right now on a study, not a study, but according to Kiplinger, Housing market could keep inflation anchored, says Manulife John Hancock, co-chief investment strategist. Taking a look at everything that you had already mentioned, everybody is pretty much aware of all the risk and inflation rising due to the oil prices and housing. With inventory still being at its all-time low, we're also seeing a slowdown on movement in home prices as well. And so what that is suggesting is that inflation right now can backdrop than the market's knee-jerk reaction to higher oil prices we have seen recently, according to this article, who is an investment strategist. So what that means for first-time home buyers right now is, because we're kind of seeing like a jerk into this market, a lot of people are wanting to hold off onto buying because of the uncertainty. But just like you said, you had mentioned it's really important to work with real estate professionals like ourselves to have a strategy. What type of strategy from a mortgage broker or consultant's perspective is most useful during these times?
Well, anytime you're buying, whether it's a time of like now where you're uncertain or a time where rates are low, it always comes down to the same principle. Can you afford the payment? You should never buy more than you can afford, because a lot of things can happen in your life, right? Things you can't control. You might go unemployed. There's just things that happen. So you want to be in a situation where the payment is comfortable and it works with your finances. Never overreaching, buying more than you can afford. And that's where we work. I mean, we can't move the rates. They are what they are. But the strategy becomes, what is the payment that works for your finances? And what is your long-term, short-term goals? And how can we fit that payment into those goals? It is all about understanding the client and the client needs, and really having that conversation and peeling the onion and figuring out what their core goals are, right? We can't do that without sitting with the clients and having that conversation. And every client's very different, and every client has a different budget too. So I think when we're sitting down with them, we really want to get to know them. We want to know where they want to be in life in the next year, 3 years, 5 years, 10 years, and also what their financial goals are. And then we really get down and say, okay, let's see where you can be as far as a mortgage payment. Because that's the only strategy you can have. You can't go into this blindly and I can approve you for so much more than you really want to afford, and then we put you in a really bad situation.
Absolutely.
So I think it's about finding that amount that fits the budget, so that if whatever happens with rates, you're comfortable with the payment, and that's the most important thing.
Absolutely. So today's Monday market update is really given about what today's numbers are and how we can provide you the best strategy in today's market.
Yes, agree.
Happy Monday, everyone.